first, we start in France. Big news today. Now, just a reminder, this is how the table looked before play was suspended. There was a meeting today talking about when football would resume. The government making the announcement as we welcome in Frank Leboeuf. Frank then saying that there will be no football, be it behind closed doors or anything, until September. This is a big surprise, isn't it?
It is, Dan, it is, and we are all very shocked about that decision because supposedly the government took the decision on its own, meaning that they didn't talk to the board of the Ligue 1, to the 20 chairmen of the Ligue 1, and took that decision where they could have been, a time where you can think about and see how the virus and all the pandemic goes on, and maybe starts a little bit later in June or end of June the championship and finish the season. They took that decision. It's surprising because now we don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to be champion? Who's going to be qualified for the Champions League? Who's going to be relegated? Who's going to be promoted? Those questions we don't have answers. We have to wait for now the board of the Ligue 1 to decide whether they're going to stop at the day 28 or the day 27 because Paris Saint-Germain didn't play against Strasbourg on the last day, or maybe just the first 18 games of the season and they didn't count the return games. So we don't have all answers. And again, we're very surprised because it's gonna be very hard for some clubs. I think about Amiens, who has 19 now, but only 3 or 4 points behind Nîmes, and could have hoped for a continuation of the championship and be saved because you have 13 points in games in games. So it's a hard decision that the government took, socially as well, because we know how the people in France love football and want to see football, but they're not going to see football and soccer before September.
And Frank, a lot of people asking me to ask you what's going to happen with the Champions League. PSG and Lyon, of course, still involved. The plan from UEFA, from what we've discussed and what we understand, is that it could be played over that 20-day period in August. If you can't have football in France, what's going to happen?
It's going to be complicated for Paris Saint-Germain, and a friend of mine talked to Nasser El Khelaifi, Paris Saint-Germain chairman, who said that he's going to follow what the government says, but he's going to follow also what the UEFA says, and meaning that if the Champions League is held in July or August and they have to finish it, they're going to finish it. They're going to go abroad to play some maybe friendly games to prepare all the game they have to play in the Champions League, starting from the quarterfinal because they got qualified against Borussia Dortmund, and they want to finish it. It's a big opportunity for Paris Saint-Germain to be a champion of the Champions League this season, but if they don't play the regular season of the Ligue 1, I don't know how they can be fit and competitive in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's obviously an issue. As a former player, you know that, Frank. You need some sort of match fitness. You can't just roll in to the quarterfinals of the Champions League expecting to hit the ground running.
Exactly, it's not a lottery, and we all know that when we are injured or when we are in a preseason, if we don't play real games, not only friendly games but real games with a big competition, we cannot be ready. That's a big factor. And it's a big damage for Paris Saint-Germain, and I don't know it's going to jeopardize the future of Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, but some players must be very disappointed with that decision because again it was a big opportunity for Paris Saint-Germain to win the Champions League this season. They had the squad for that, but it might end in the quarterfinal for Paris Saint-Germain because if they don't play in the Ligue 1, they won't be ready, I think, for the Champions League.
And we can't forget Lyon either, Frank.
Yes, of course it goes for Lyon. Lyon is also in a different position for the Ligue 1 because they are 7 in the table, but on the day 28, but on the day 27 they were 5th. So qualified for the UEFA, the Europa League, sorry. And so, because Paris Saint-Germain didn't play against Strasbourg, sorry, it's getting complicated. Jean-Michel Aulas, the Lyon chairman, wants to, if the Ligue 1 has to be stopped, wants to be stopped the day 27, the day before. So it's complicated for Lyon. It's complicated also for Lyon in the Champions League because they have to play the return game against Juventus. They didn't play. And if they don't have any games in Ligue 1, it's going to be almost impossible for Lyon to get qualified.
Okay, say the French FA. They go, right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call Frank Leboeuf, and whatever he says, this will be it. So how would you resolve, Frank, Ligue 1, considering there was going to be no football until September? How would you do it?
I don't know. I think it was a decision, a quick decision, and a too quick decision. In a way that we don't know how the virus will go and how it's going to be, if the problem is going to be resolved. Of course, it's possible. It's a possibility that it's not possible for us to play until September. But some of the great doctors that we have in France are saying that it's possible that the virus disappear very soon. So what's going to happen if the government decides that we don't play in September and everything is clear at the end of June, let's say? That's going to be a problem. So for me, the government should have waited a little bit more before making a decision. We see that in Germany they're about to start training together or play and soon playing together. I know in Italy they try to find a decision, and I know that in England also they try to find decisions to make sure that clubs can start again. And in France we just decided to shut down. That's not a possibility. People need football. It's important. Of course, it's not the most important thing. And the most important thing is to make people in a safe situation. But it's important, and we decided to shut it down. I don't really agree with that because you have lots of question marks after that, and the government didn't answer those questions.
We saw in Holland, didn't we, the Eredivisie saying, right, that is it. The season's voided. There will be no champions. There will be no relegation. These teams, Ajax will go into the group stages of the Champions League. AZ will go into the playoffs. Is that something that you think will happen in France as well? No relegation, no promotion, no champions?
Well, it's not what I heard. It's a possibility, of course, and I think it will be better for everybody, except the two promoted in Ligue 2. We're going to stay in Ligue 2. But I think it's very unfair to relegate Amiens, Toulouse, and maybe Nîmes if we stay where we are. I don't really care about the champion. Paris Saint-Germain has been a champion for years. And it's more tricky for the qualified of the Champions League and the Europa League. But it's only positive answers. I'm more into negative answers where Amiens, for example, 4 points behind Nîmes, could be relegated. And relegation means people losing their jobs in the office of Amiens board. And that's a problem for me.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.